Alright guys, hello, Shan here, and today we are going to be doing a tier list of the FNaF characters. I saw someone posted this on Twitter, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to make my own, but then I thought, why don't I make a video out of it? I do want to make it very clear that my opinions on this are not going to be very consistent. There's some characters that I like just because I think they're adorable. There's some characters that I like just because I think they're really cool. There's some characters I like because they're creepy. Some might just be purely based off of vibes. For example, logically, there's nothing wrong with Balloon Boy, but I don't think I've ever grown out of the 2014, 2015 state of making fun of the poor guy. Might not be very consistent, but let's get right into it. As you can see, I've added some different things here. I added the absolute and disgusting demon spawn, specifically because I know that there's one character that I would absolutely put in that tier. Let's just get into it. Now let's, obviously, classic Freddy. Do we even need to have this discussion? Classic Freddy is like the perfect design, okay? He looks adorable, he can look scary, and he just looks the most like he could be a real mascot of an actual pizza place for kids. And I think there's a lot of designs in this franchise that could be improved by doing small little tweaks. But Freddy, I think he's genuinely perfect. So Freddy, immediately, starting off, goes into the absolute. I mean, look at him. He's perfect. I love him. I want to hug him, and I wish I could have gone to PAX so I could actually hug him. Now, let's get to Bonnie. Bonnie is great. Also, is very similar to Freddy, as in that he is cute, but he honestly is a lot creepier than Freddy, and I think a lot of it comes down to the lack of eyebrows, to be honest. He gives a lot more of a blank stare than Freddy does. That being said, I don't think he's in my heart quite as much as Freddy, so he's gonna be given an S. Now, Chica. I mean, she's fine. It's not that I don't like her. It's just that compared to Freddy and Bonnie, she's not as cute, but she can be very creepy. During the first game, I thought she was the creepiest. That being said, I don't know, I don't like her as much, so I'm gonna put her in A, I think. Foxy is interesting. I thought he was cool, but back during FNaF 1's release, everybody loved Foxy, like, to death. In a way, a lot of people's love for the character made me dislike him, but I will say, I like him a lot more than I used to. I still don't think he's as great as a lot of people, but I would say he is absolutely worthy of an S. He looks cute, he's cool, he's probably like the most interesting character of the band. Like, if it was a real location, I would probably be the biggest fan of Foxy. Golden Freddy, I love Golden Freddy. Let's put it this way. Before the whole thing with Ultimate Custom Night happened, I liked Golden Freddy a lot more. Not that I don't like Golden Freddy Ultimate Custom Night, let's put it this way, right? If Golden Freddy is the one in charge of Ultimate Custom Night, I love Golden Freddy. If Golden Freddy is not the one behind Ultimate Custom Night, I am not as interested. But that's not because Golden Freddy's bad, that's just because Andrew sucks. I hate Andrew. There is so many characters from the books that I hated that ended up becoming, like, really cool later on. I don't think Andrew is ever going to be one of those. I despise Andrew. You know what, this is supposed to be like a character ranking thing. I won't go into my opinions on Andrew when I don't think he's even on this list. I mean, if you count the one you shouldn't have killed as Andrew, then yeah, he's on this list. But if you think it's Cassidy, then that's going to be an interesting character to rank. We'll just say that. Anyway, back to Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy's in an interesting spot here. If you're curious on my thoughts on Golden Freddy, you could watch my FNaF 1 rewritten video. I go into my thoughts on Golden Freddy a lot in that, especially with Evan and Cassidy, or Dave and Cassidy. I'm so tired of all these names. But Evan, I like Evan the most. Evan and Cassidy. Basically, I don't like Cassidy in canon, but she's really cool in fan stuff, so that makes me like her more, but in canon, I think she's really lame. Golden Freddy's cool. We'll put him in A. I mean, he's really creepy in FNaF 1, like the sunken in eyes look really cool and stuff. I don't like that his design is literally just yellow Freddy. Not that I want him to like look completely different or anything. I just wish like the hat was I liked how back in the day people gave him like a blue hat and bow tie instead, or if it was brown like in Stage 01. And I love how the movie has him missing the ear, and it's kind of a mix between his classic and withered design. I just think straight up yellow Freddy is a little boring. But as a character, Golden Freddy's cool, creepy, and back during his prime as Fredbear, I'd absolutely love to hug him. So we'll just give him an A. Maybe not, because we have different variants of Golden Freddy as it's going on, and I'm kind of treating them as if like they're all the same. Like, everything I've said about Golden Freddy's character applies to the others, but in terms of design, this one is definitely the worst. We'll put it in B. Phone Guy is absolutely an S tier. I mean, how could he not be? He's hilarious. I miss him. And he's awesome in the week before. I don't have much to say about Phone Guy, so we're moving on. It's just like, how could you not love Phone Guy? Anyway, for the cupcake, the cupcake's fine, I guess. It's just not super interesting. I would say we'll put it next to Chica, but it's kind of irrelevant outside of the movie, so I don't know, we're gonna put it in B. It's kind of creepy when you see it watching you in the office. I don't know, it's not super interesting, you know? But at the same time, that feels kind of like a disgrace to Golden Freddy. We're gonna put it in C. As for the endoskeleton, it's pretty creepy when you see it looking at you with all the spare heads, but it literally has no character, and I think Endo 1 is probably the least interesting Endo design. We're gonna go ahead and just put him in D. Now, as for Toy Freddy, most of his fun stuff comes from Ultimate Custom Night, where he's a gamer, and he's rage quitting at Mr. Hugs. Outside of that, I feel like Toy Freddy is the least interesting of the toy animatronics. I really hope the new movie makes him more interesting. So I think we'll give him a B. I will say that FNaF AR makes him a bit more threatening, which was interesting because I didn't think you could really make him threatening. And also he looks a little creepy in the office with the black eyes, I guess. Now as for Toy Bonnie, I will admit I'm a bit biased. I'm sure most people watching know I'm an animator, a FNaF animator, for the most part. And I had my own FNaF series, and one of the main characters of the FNaF series was at least modeled after Toy Bonnie. It's not actually Toy Bonnie, but she looks like Toy Bonnie. I've always thought Toy Bonnie was one of the more interesting of the toys. We'll put it in A. This just comes down to personal biases. I'm gonna order this in terms of like Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Golden Freddy, Springtrap, the rest. That's how we're gonna order these. I'm not saying I like Phone Guy more than Bonnie or Toy Bonnie more than Chica, okay? Because that's definitely not true. As for Toy Chica, I feel like she's kind of been ruined a bit. Just because, you know, the fan base just completely simps over her. And don't get me wrong, it's funny. But now I just can't see her without really thinking about that. But if I try to ignore that, I think her removing her beak is a good way of making her scary, because she absolutely would not be scary without it. I don't know, at the time of FNaF 2, I thought she was pretty creepy. Like, before everyone was like, chicken thighs. I don't know, I think she also goes into B. My opinion on the toy animatronics is, if they didn't exist, there wouldn't be much of a difference. So I'm really hoping, you know, the new movie makes them a lot better. Because the only toy animatronic that I, like, want to exist, I guess is a way to put it, is Mangle. Because I love Mangle, and speaking of Mangle, you're going into the absolute. I'm sorry, I love Mangle. She's so cool, and he looks so creepy in hallway renders. I love how they look like a clown. I really wish they had Toy Foxy on here, because I love Toy Foxy too. And I know, before anyone points it out, Funtime Foxy. But I don't, there's two Funtime Foxies. That's confusing. So, Toy Foxy. Also, just a side note on Toy Foxy, I've complained about this in my Discord server before too, but I hate how, like, accurate FNaF model packs always give Toy Foxy a more feminine figure, when we have seen in FNaF World and in Toy Foxy's action figure that Toy Foxy has the same body shape as Toy Bonnie. Toy Foxy looks better the way she is. Stop trying to make her a Toy Chica ripoff. As for the Enragement Child, moving on, now for the okay, no, I'm kidding. For Balloon Boy, he's actually not that bad. I don't know. Let's put it this way. I don't dislike Balloon Boy, but I don't think he really has any redeeming qualities either. He's going in F. I don't care. Heck, I like JJ and Dee Dee more than Balloon Boy because they don't they don't go, Anyway, as for the puppet, the absolute. Okay, the puppet has a really cool design, and it looks really creepy sometimes, usually more so in fan art than the game itself, but still really cool. And I think it's no secret, everyone knows that I think Charlie is like the best FNaF character. Like, she was awesome in the books, and when we found out that she was the puppet in the games, I was really excited. Now, unfortunately, she doesn't get a lot of character in the games. I just really like the dynamic of the puppet in Springtrap. Again, more so in fan works, but you get what I'm saying. Alright, now as for Withered Freddy, I think he is a great design, and honestly not too far off from classic Freddy. I don't know, he also seems like he could be a real animatronic from his time period. So I would also give him an S, to be honest. Let's be honest, who doesn't love Withered Bonnie? I don't care if he's Toilet Bonnie. I don't care how weird he looks if you try to unwither him. He is the absolute. He is the creepiest of the withered animatronics in-game, at least. I hate using, like, Gen Z lingo, but he aura farms on us, okay? He's that Skibbity Sigma. Withered Chica, I will say, is a lot better in a lot of fan creations rather than the main games herself. I feel like Withered Chica in the games is more of a B. Like, yeah, she has the blank stare, she's, like, kind of stuck in her T-pose, and, like, you feel bad for her, and she's got no hands, but I don't know, she never gets a chance to really be creepy, and also her design, like, makes not a lot of sense in terms of her being an actual kids entertainer. Just because, like, you've seen people try to unwither her, she always looks weird. I've done my best to unwither her. It's obvious Scott didn't think about what the Withereds would look like if you unwither them, and let's be real, it's probably because the unwithereds don't even really exist. I hate that, but just Withered Chica in the games, not living up to her full potential. But I will say, like, a lot of fan works make her a lot creepier. The sunken in eyes works really well under the right lighting. I just feel like the game itself doesn't have it. Now, as for Withered Foxy, I think he's really cool. I probably don't like him as much as most people do. I mean, he looks cool and all, but I don't like him as much as classic Foxy. I think he's more of an A, because he's better than Withered Chica, but not as good as Withered Freddy. Now, as for Withered Golden Freddy, the absolute. Withered Golden Freddy is, like, just so much of an upgrade on Golden Freddy's FNaF 1 design. It's still a yellow Freddy, he still looks creepy. I do kind of miss the glowing eyes a bit, but at the same time it makes him look more dead inside without him. He isn't just straight up yellow Freddy, he's got the missing ear, and he's got the wires coming out of his eye. I don't know, he's just the better Golden Freddy. And I feel like if Scott had thought through FNaF outside of the first game, Withered Golden Freddy would be, like, the definitive Golden Freddy design. Or at least FNaF 1 Golden Freddy would look a lot more like him, since Fredbear himself looks like classic Golden Freddy. As for Shadow Freddy, I'm sorry, I don't care all that much. He's important in FNaF 3 because he lures the animatronics to William. I thought him and Shadow Bonnie were cooler when we thought that they were spring-locked employees, but, like, at least Shadow Bonnie is cool as an agony creature. Shadow Freddy just doesn't do anything. So, I don't know. I'm sorry, Shadow Freddy. But as for Shadow Bonnie, I don't know. Like I said, I think he's cooler, but I still don't think he's all that great. It's just kind of strange. I don't know why he's still around as of FNaF AR. And, like, he doesn't do anything. Oh, by the way, I should mention for Shadow Freddy, I know some people think that Eleanor is Shadow Freddy, and if that's the case, which I don't think it is, but if that was the case, that just actively makes him worse. Endo 2, I think he's a lot better than Endo 1, and I think he's a lot more of an interesting Easter egg character. I don't know, we'll put him in D2, but just know I still like him a bit more than Endo 1. If we were ordering this based off of, like, who I think is best in the tier, it would be like this. As I said, for JJ, I actually do like her more than Balloon Boy. I like the color scheme more. I think her, like, watching you under the desk is creepier. Well, there's not really much more to it outside of she doesn't have the annoying voice, which means I like her more than Balloon Boy for being less of a character, which isn't exactly a good thing. We're just gonna put her in F along with Balloon Boy. The Paper Pals being on this list is a little interesting. I wouldn't have considered them an actual character, so I don't really know how to rank them. We'll just put them in D, because why not? Crying Child, but which one? This is... I wouldn't have personally put that on this list. As well, I'll just rank the Crying Children as a design. As a design, I think they're cool. B. William Afton. What can I say? William Afton's awesome. I love his characterization in The Silver Eyes and the first movie. He's pretty cool in Twisted Ones too. I didn't like him as much in The Fourth Closet. I don't know. It's not because, like, there's particularly anything wrong with him. I just felt like he was a lot creepier in the first two books. And, you know, we don't get a lot of his character in the games. The games just kind of make him seem like he's only, like, ha ha ha, remnant, mad scientist man. Which is, like, I like the motivation, but when you reduce him just to that, I feel like he's a lot more boring. Which is, again, kind of my problem with him in The Fourth Closet. The scenes where he's, like, interacting with the soul splitting of the MCI is cool, but when he's just, like, with Baby and trying to talk about Remnant and trying to live forever, little less interesting. But yeah, overall, I'd say his character is the absolute. As for Phone Dude, he's funny and all, but we barely even hear from him. I mean, some people think he might be one of the characters in What We Found. We're gonna put him in C. Like, he's funny, he's not much of a character, there's nothing wrong with him, you know? Do we even need to talk about Springtrap? Do we? But just in case, I'm gonna do it anyway. The concept of the killer being stuck inside the suit he used to kill people and is being tormented inside of it because of the pain of the spring locks is so good. I will say it makes it a little less interesting when we realized William actually liked being Springtrap. But at the same time, he later on in the books is like, it was painful. Like, it was fun, but it sucked. Just like in the story of the first three games, it was like, aha, the killer got what he deserved with this poetic irony. And then afterwards, we were like, oh, he's after being immortal. He wants to be alive forever. This kind of just gave him exactly what he wanted, even if it is painful. It doesn't damage it for me. Like, even if I think him being trapped in there is better and him enjoying it is not as good, I still think Springtrap is awesome, an awesome concept. He looks awesome, and he is pretty creepy. William Afton is just probably the best, well, one of the best human characters. I do think there is a human character that is better than him at this point. The Phantoms, let's be real, the Phantoms are so forgettable. Like, the one thing I liked about Phantom Freddy is that he was missing a leg. But it seems like that's kind of been retconned at this point. I don't know. I think all of these guys belong in C, to be honest with you. With the exception of the Phantom Puppet. I like how the Phantom Puppet seemingly implies that the puppet is in Fazbear's Fright and watching over Springtrap. Now, I know that's debated if it's actually her or not. Personally, I like to think it is. And I'd say that bumps up the Phantom Puppet to being B. Also, I feel like the Phantom Puppet makes the most sense out of all these guys, because if Charlie is there with William and she's in the fire, the Phantom Puppet would be burned, and the Phantom Puppet is like the one kind of real one, if that makes sense. Okay, I can't lie, my voice is starting to hurt a bit. I think it's because I haven't, like, talked much the past few weeks. Look, I was talking all the time with my girlfriend at the time, but ever since then I haven't really talked to anyone. It's been like 3 weeks, so I've barely talked. My voice is kind of tired of talking so much now. Crying Child, Bite Victim, Evan, Chris, Dave, Garret, Afton, a man of many names, a plot point that ends so quickly. Let's Let me go over this with you, okay? I have a lot of thoughts on this kid. So back when FNaF 4 came out, we thought that this guy right here was Golden Freddy, or the puppet. Some people thought he was the puppet. Personally, I thought the puppet was the Fredbear plush at the time, or at least like the same spirit was in the Fredbear plush. Here's my ideal timeline for Evan. He dies inside Fredbear's. He possesses Fredbear / Golden Freddy. He tries to tell Mike it's me when he sees him in FNaF 1. Mike tries to help set him free by setting up Happiest Day. Happiest Day happens and Evan gets the birthday he always wanted. That's the ideal storyline for me. I just want this kid to have relevance. Now, let's go over what the actual story of this kid is. He gets bitten by Fredbear. He half possesses Fredbear. The end. He talks to Mike in a logbook and that's it. Unless you believe he's the one who set up Happiest Day through FNaF World. But we know he isn't the one in Happiest Day, because the books confirm that Cassidy's the one who gets the Happiest Day. We just don't even know what happens to this kid. This kid could have had the best story in the game. He does not. So, as a concept, I would give him an A. In execution, giving him a D. Everything would be fixed, in my opinion, if you just gave him the Happiest Day. Why does Cassidy get the Happiest Day? And Cassidy's a whole nother bag of worms. Is she on this list? Because if so, I'll talk about her. I don't see her on this list, unless you count the princess as Cassidy, but we all know Security Breach had issues with Steelwool understanding the story, so that's debatable. If we talk about the one you shouldn't have killed later, then I guess, yeah, we'll talk about her. Nightmare Freddy's pretty cool. I don't have a lot to say about him. We'll put him in A. I like him more than Toy Freddy. Not as much as Withered Freddy, though. The Freddles, I forget they exist 90% of the time, so we'll just put him in F, I guess. Nightmare Bonnie, I actually like more than Nightmare Freddy. Don't know if it would be an S, though. I don't know, it's a tough choice. I might have to come back to it. We'll just put it in A for now, because I'm not certain. I'd like Nightmare Chica the least out of all the nightmares, probably. But I still think she's probably an A, to be honest. I like the one eye. I like the multiple sets of teeth. I like how it references how you can see Chica's endo teeth, like the best in FNaF 1. So even if I like her the least out of the nightmares, well, actually that's not true, but we'll get to that. Out of the main 4, I like her the least, but I still think she's good. Nightmare Foxy might be my favorite out of the main 4 nightmares. I don't really know why. A lot of it actually has to do with the texture on him. When I look at him, he looks kind of like rubbery and foamy. I kind of want to bite him. And the Nightmare Cupcake kind of feels the same way, especially in the teaser with the Nightmare Cupcake. We'll put him in S, but it's a little debatable. Nightmare Fredbear is probably my least favorite of the nightmares. Of the main nightmares, anyway. I just think he's kind of ugly, to be honest with you. And not even like in a spooky, scary way, just kind of ugly. Like, Nightmare is literally Nightmare Fredbear but black, and I think he looks a lot better. I don't know, I just feel like Nightmare Fredbear, his head looks like a burger. Like, it looks like the 2 buns, and then his mouth is like the lettuce, tomato. It's a really weird thought. I don't dislike Nightmare Fredbear, but he's my least favorite. B. Okay, I really hate to do this without credit, because I tried to reverse image search to find who made this image, but you know what? If any of you know, please let me know. This is probably more of what I would have liked Nightmare Fredbear to look like. I can't explain why, to be honest, but I just look at this head shape, and it feels a lot more like Fredbear and less like burger. But while we're on the topic of Fredbear, I'm just gonna do this right away. UCN Fredbear, and I am gonna put it in the absolute. Now, personally, I know a lot of people hate UCN Fredbear. I always figured this is what Fredbear was gonna look like, to be honest with you. Except for one difference. I thought it was gonna be an unwithered Golden Freddy and not a classic Golden Freddy. But I always thought people who expected him to not be a recolor were... what's the word? Too hopeful, I guess. Golden Freddy is always a yellow Freddy. When we saw the Fredbear plush, which I saw was on here somewhere, here he is, it's literally just a yellow Freddy with purple top hat. In FNaF World, Adventure Fredbear is literally Golden Freddy with the purple top hat. I always knew that Fredbear was going to look like this. I just thought it was going to be an unwithered Fredbear. So while we're on this topic, real quick, I am going to look at these other images as well. I am going to apologize again. I do know who made some of these images, but the other one, I'm not sure. If you're wondering why I even have these images, by the way, I save a lot of FNaF stuff. I believe this model is made by Egg Boy. This is probably a bit more of what I would have liked UCN Fredbear to look like. It's still very similar, but it looks slightly different. Just add in those eyebrows there because I like the eyebrows. But, yeah, I don't know. I really like Egg Boy's version of UCN Fredbear. It matches a lot more with Spring Bonnie to me. I don't know. To me, this is probably, like, the ideal UCN Fredbear. This design, I don't know who made. I tried to reverse image search it as well. But I'd say outside of UCN Fredbear, this would be more of my ideal Fredbear design. It looks a lot more like Unwithered Fredbear, but it also looks a lot more like Spring Bonnie in terms of the body shape. I do have to say, since we're on this topic, I loathe Unnightmare Fredbear. Ever since 2015, when people started trying to show off Unnightmare Fredbear and being like, guys, this is what Fredbear looks like, I have despised it. If you are trying to claim that Fredbear would look like Unnightmare Fredbear, you are also trying to say that the classic animatronics look like this. Like, even the Unwithereds, because a lot of people thought the nightmares were based off of the Withered animatronics at the time. Does this look like what they would look like to you? Because if this doesn't look like the classic animatronics or the Unwithered animatronics to you, why would Fredbear ever look like this? Why? I will say this Unnightmare Fredbear actually doesn't look too horrible compared to other ones. But just in general, I hate Unnightmare Fredbear. I'm trying to use the toggle for my angry expression, but it's not working for some reason, so I just look kind of silly. But yeah, I hate Unnightmare Fredbear. And just while we're at it, real quick, I don't know who did this either. Let me try to reverse image search. Okay, I just gotta complain. TinEye sucks at finding images, and the other reverse image search site that I use, like, has gone to crap. It's now asking me to pay for stuff to use AI, and it just said I've reached my 2 daily free limit, which is stupid. So, whatever. But I also like this Fredbear, I can't lie. I like how it's more based off the minigame, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is like Egg Boy's concept art for the Fredbear that we would for this not this one. Did I close out of it? This Fredbear, I guess I closed out of the other images. Pretty sure this is his concept art for it. You can see how it looks a lot more like Spring Bonnie, which I like. I do have to admit, I'm also a decent fan of the Rockstar Fredbear design. I don't think it's true, but I do actually like the design, so. Or we could have minigame accurate Fredbear right here. This is exactly what I wanted, definitely. Anyway, I got sidetracked. My point is, I don't know. I feel like Nightmare Fredbear, I used to like him a lot more than I do now. I don't know. I just think he's a little too exaggerated. I know it's because he did the bite, and that's why his jaw is so big, but I feel like it's a bit too much. Again, I don't dislike him. I just personally would have liked something a little different. As for Nightmare, though, I think he uses Nightmare Fredbear's design perfectly. He's going to nest here. It's too bad Nightmare is, like, so irrelevant in terms of the lore. I'm a bit biased with Nightmare. He's one of the main characters in my series, so. As for Plush Trap, I really don't care too much about him, but he's fine. I don't know. I'm gonna just put him in D. Nightmare Cupcake, honestly, the biggest thing going for it is, again, the texture makes me kind of want to bite it, but I like it less than normal Cupcake. So, honestly, it might also go in D. Jacko Bonnie and Jacko Chica, I'm not the biggest fans of, to be honest. They're going in D. They're not F worthy, but I don't care enough to put them above that, I don't think. Can go in D2, I guess, I don't know. Nightmare Mangle is a nightmare I've always had a problem with. Let's look at it this way, right? Nightmare BB and Nightmarion both keep the plastic look that the toy animatronics have. So why is Nightmare Mangle have Nightmare Foxy's texture to it? And I will say, Fourth Closet Mangle fixes that a whole lot for me. Like, let's be real, right? Fourth Closet Mangle is basically just Nightmare Mangle, but with the toy textures. And, you know, without all the Nightmare Foxy rips. This is much more of what I would have preferred Nightmare Mangle to look like. Maybe not that exaggerated with all the limbs, but you get the point. I'm talking about the head here. I think Nightmare Mangle is... No, I like you more than Jacko Bonnie and Jacko Chica. You can go and see. Let's see, Nightmare Balloon Boy I actually like more than normal Balloon Boy, to be honest with you. He's probably going into C. Also, I just realized I put Phantom Balloon Boy like above normal Balloon Boy. I like how Phantom Balloon Boy's mouth can open and Phantom Balloon Boy can actually look kind of creepy. Nightmarion, I'm gonna be so real, you guys. The absolute. I love Nightmarion. I love that Nightmarion has become, like, canon at this point, because Nightmarion wasn't canon during FNAF 4. But then it became semi-canon in Ultimate Custom Night. And then it became fully canon in FNAF VR, and it just keeps showing up. Personally, if I wrote FNAF, as much as I love Nightmare, I would have had Nightmarion over Nightmare. I honestly kind of wish I could have a version of FNAF 4 that's like just normal FNAF 4, but Nightmarion instead of Nightmare. This FNAF World section, honestly, I don't think we need to do all this. They're not like actual characters for the most part. We'll rank Dee Dee because Dee Dee is in Ultimate Custom Night. You're annoying, but you're funny. You're going in B. You're also kind of an actual character. We don't know who you are. I think some people believe that now you are Charlie guiding Cassidy to freeing Evan, but that's so weird because Cassidy is the one who receives the happiest day. So, I don't know. You're really confusing. Your placement on this list could depend entirely on who you are and who you're talking to. But then there's also some people that believe that FNAF World is like an in-universe video game, and that Mike is the one setting up Happiest Day. To me, I just can't imagine you as anyone but Charlie trying to help the other kids. So I don't know. I'm sure there's something out there that contradicts that. We'll just leave you in B. You're like in the middle. Okay, we're also gonna do Lolbit just because Lolbit is cool. We're gonna put you in B2. Chica's Magic Rainbow. Disgusting Demon Spawn. Scott Cawthon is the absolute. I guess Old Man Consequences. We still don't fully understand you. We know basically nothing about you, honestly. And we'll also put you in B. You know what, Dee Dee, I'm sorry, you're going to C. You're not a B. I lied. Alright, Elizabeth Afton. Her character is... She's a lot more interesting in the Fourth Closet, I think. But in the games is kind of weird, because, you know, Baby's kind of like her own separate entity until FNAF 6. It's weird. I don't know, we're gonna put Elizabeth at C. Like, she's not a bad character, and also a lot of the fandom, like, is really mean to her character for some reason. Like, treating her like she's a horrible person. She's like 8, and her programming literally causes her to kill people. It's not like she's not some psychopath. Michael is an S tier. I love the arc of him accidentally killing his brother and then going on to right the wrongs that his father has done. I know a lot of people tend to argue over whether Mike actually is a good person, but I think, you know, the FNAF movie gives us a lot of context to his character. I think it's dumb to try to argue that Mike didn't care about the bite, which some people do, even though he outright says he's sorry. And just because he makes a joke about the bite happening in the logbook doesn't mean he doesn't regret it. He's just... I've always interpreted that as him, like, laughing away the pain and the trauma of it, you know? Hand Unit is also an S. I'm not saying specifically Sister Location Hand Unit. I mean, he's great too, but I'm just saying Hand Unit across the whole series is an S. He's hilarious. So that includes, you know, like, FNAF 6 Hand Unit. I don't remember what he was called there specifically. Dread Unit. in Security Breach and Dispatch in Secret of the Mimic, although technically that's not even him for a huge chunk of the game. But we can assume he'd still basically act the same. So, Baby's interesting. I feel like she's a good character that was kind of underutilized. She's very manipulative and creepy, and I like her. And I'm kind of sad that that gets thrown out the window in FNAF 6, to be honest. I feel like she's more interesting in Sister Location, and then in FNAF 6 she kind of just becomes more generic and one note. I'll give Circus Baby an A. Ballora can go into a D. I really don't care about her. She's another character I feel like if she didn't exist, the FNAF lore would not be any different. Funtime Foxy is really cool, though. He's getting an A. Funtime Freddy, I am also giving an A. I know a lot of people would probably give him an S. I don't know if I'd give him an S. I love Funtime Freddy, but not the same as, like, Withered Freddy or Classic Freddy, you know? I'm sorry, Bon Bon, you're getting a B. You're not that interesting. I just realized we're almost an hour in, and I'm only at Sister Location. I think I gotta stop being so thorough. Ennard is also kind of similar to Circus Baby. I think he's a really cool character that in FNAF 6 got brought down to one note. And let's be real. Technically, Circus Baby isn't even who we're talking to through most of the game. It's probably Ennard. Like, we never see Baby. She is probably Ennard through most of the game, if not the whole game. This makes it so hard, because, like, so much of this is Elizabeth, so much of this is Baby, and so much of it is Ennard, and it's like they're all kind of the same. Yeah, you know, we'll just leave Ennard there, I guess. I just feel bad for you, Ennard, because both you and Baby were, like, really cool in Sister Location, and in FNAF 6 you kind of... Here, I know a lot of people consider FNAF 6 like the perfect ending. Don't get me wrong, I think FNAF 6 is a fantastic game, and I think Henry's speech is awesome. But I think the way that it treats Baby, Molten Freddy, and William would make it not the best ending. It's a great ending to the series, it's not a great ending to the characters. Does that make sense? That's my opinion. Biddy Bab. F. Sorry, don't like you. The Hellspawn. Disgusting. Disgusting. I hate Electrobab with every fiber of my being. Just for some context, some of you might know, on my animation channel, I used to make most accurate FNAF models every year, because back then, we didn't have the official models, and it was fun to try to choose which ones were the best for the community to use. In 2018, I did not include Electrobab because it's literally Biddy Bab with different colored eyes, and so many comments were, "You forgot Electrobab." I hate this thing. This thing has given me so many dumb comments. It's literally the same model with different colored eyes. I hate you, and I hate everyone who commented. Mini arenas are cool. We'll put them in D. Actually, you know what? I like you more than Ballora. You're going into C. Fredbear plush. Honestly, this is kind of weird to have as his own character. We don't even know for sure, like, what the Fredbear plush is. Like, most people assume it's William. Some people think it's Charlie, which I like the idea that it's Charlie, even if I don't believe that anymore. We'll also put you in C. You're kind of in the, hard to decide category unless we know for sure what you are. Mini Arena 2, disgusting. Lolbit in Sister Location, you're literally just a head. You're cooler than Ballora. You're going in C. Yendo is interesting. For me, Yendo is more or less cool depending on whether Yendo is... Here, let's put it this way. If Funtime Freddy and Bon Bon is Gabriel and Jeremy's remnant, and Funtime Foxy is Fritz's remnant, and I guess Ballora would be Susie's remnant, I don't know, is Yendo Cassidy's remnant? If so, I like it. If Yendo is just a random Easter egg thing, I don't care. You're going into C because you're in the same boat as in, like, you have possible potential, but we don't know. Bonnet, you're just gonna go in F. I really don't care. Well, no, you're going into C. I like you more than Ballora. I like Ballora. I like how she can crawl around, and she's creepy looking. I don't know how to feel about Ballora. Anyway, Helpy, you're going in S. I love you. I love Helpy. He's so cute. Molten Freddy, you are going into B. You're, like, not as interesting as Ennard was, sadly. Yeah, I don't know. I need to stop trying to talk so much. This is being a long video. Scrap Baby. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. As a character, you're not as cool as Circus Baby. As a design, I think you're the absolute... I love Scrap Baby's design. I think she is super creepy and also so cool. I did say this tier list wouldn't be entirely consistent. There you go. Not consistent. Scrap Trap. So, here's the thing about Scrap Trap. Everybody hates you. You peanut head. You Minecraft withering. And everyone wishes you didn't exist. Except for me, baby! I love Scrap Trap. Okay, Finn loves Scrap Trap too. Now look, you're gonna throw out my whole list because of this one ranking. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But I love Scrap Trap. I don't like his corpse, okay? I'll make that clear. I don't like his corpse. But I love the bone arm, and I think he looks really creepy in the salvage lighting. And I'm not a fan of the Minecraft withering either, but that's just kind of the way Scott does his withering. I will say, let me show you something. Here, this right here, this is Everything Animation's Scrap Trap. This is like the ideal Scrap Trap to me. He has a much better corpse. The bone arm looks more threatening because it's bigger. And it doesn't have as much Minecraft withering. It's still a little blocky, but not as much. This, to me, is the perfect Scrap Trap. And this is what I think Scrap Trap would have looked like if Scott was better at modeling. I think Scrap Trap is an awesome design that is unfortunately brought down by Scott's modeling ability. I would love to see a Scrap Trap skin in Dead by Daylight, because I can guarantee that the Dead by Daylight devs would make it look fantastic. And maybe people would finally see what I see in this design. Because I love Scrap Trap. I really do. Anyway, that's my hottest take on this video, outside of maybe the Andrew thing, but this probably still is worse. Lefty, you're okay. You're a B, I think. I like Lefty, but he's not, like, super high on my list or of anything. We're gonna go straight to the Rockstars while we're at it. Rockstar Freddy, I think Rockstar Freddy might be an S. I love Rockstar Freddy. He's really good looking to me, and I think he's funny with the 5 coins. Rockstar Bonnie, I like a little less. I think his face shape is a little strange. I can't even explain why. I just think he looks a little off. Rockstar Chica, you're alright. Gotta be honest though, I am not a fan of your teeth or the lipstick. I feel like you'd look better with only the bottom teeth and no lipstick. Now, Rockstar Foxy is also gonna be an S. My only complaint with Rockstar Foxy is that he's naked. He doesn't have his pants. I feel like he needs his pants. But everything else, I love Rockstar Foxy. Also, Who Touched Me Bird? You're kind of similar to the classics in a way, as you look like an actual thing I would see as a mascot and I would want to hug. Happy Frog, I'm gonna give you an A. I like Happy Frog. Mr. Hippo, you're... Okay, no, maybe Mr. Hippo gets the A and Happy Frog gets the B. I mean, Mr. Hippo, I really like his design, and, I mean, come on, he's hilarious. Ned Bear, I'm sorry, bro, you're going into C. I'm not a fan of your voice, and you look silly, but that's kind of your whole thing. You're a mediocre melody. Also, can we talk about how Ned Bear is the only mediocre melody that didn't originate from MCM? So he's like Stan's weird OC Freddy, like rip-off Freddy. You're like the most mediocre of the mediocre melodies for that. It's really weird. Orville, I'm a fan of Orville. You're going into B. I do find it a little strange how you kind of have like different textures than the rest. Like all the other mediocre melodies look like they're kind of FNaF 1 styled with their textures, but Orville looks more FNAF 2 styled, and it's really strange to me. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just I've always thought he looked more plastic. Anyway, there's Pig Patch. Pig Patch, I don't care for you all that much. You're going with Ned Bear. Honestly, I might put Ned Bear in D. El Chip. I actually like El Chip a lot. You're going into A. Security Puppet. I know I'm going a bit out of order here. Security Puppet, you're also going in A. I like you quite a bit too. Music Man. I actually wasn't that big of a fan of the original Music Man. He's okay. I don't know. I don't have too many feelings on the original Music Man. Funtime Chica is kind of strange. I don't know if I would put her in A. I feel like she's more of a B, I'll be honest. I'm happy we got Funtime Chica, but I feel like she's a little strange, like with the missing plate on her chest, and also she just feels a little over-designed, I guess, but all of the Funtimes kind of do. I just feel like she's a little different. There's just something about Funtime Chica I find a little off compared to the others. Whatever. Henry, we're gonna do Henry real quick. I think Henry is an S tier. I think there is a lot more nuance to Henry's character than a lot of people are willing to give him credit for. Like in the Silver Eyes, Fourth Closet, Twisted Ones, he isn't straight up a good guy, but he's not a bad guy, you know? But he did also like throw his life away when his daughter died. Not that I can blame him, but he left his son and wife behind. You know, in the games, like, Henry implies that he knows that William caused the murders, but he didn't do anything about it for like 40 years. He's not a perfect person. And obviously, you know, with the release of Secret of the Mimic, he either was unaware enough to let William destroy Edwin's life, or he actively helped in it. So, I don't know. I think a lot of people were like really surprised by Henry being a morally gray character when I thought he always was. Like, obviously he's better than William, but he's not a perfect person. So, I don't know. He's going into S for me. He's not going into the absolute just because in the games he only shows up for like 5 minutes, which is sad. I really wish we could have gotten more of him. I'm gonna skip over Trash and Gang because they're great and they're hilarious and I love them, but they're not like actual characters, so I'm skipping over them. Candy Cadet, your ruined design looks a lot better, but I do like what you do for the story, although I will say your stories in FNAF 6 weren't as good. You're going into B. Ah, Charlie. I already talked about your character, and your character is basically the same as the puppet. You only live for like 5 seconds. So we're just gonna put you there with the puppet. XOR, you suck, but I also like you. Okay, the Cassidy or Andrew. You know what? You're going into here because, let's be real, no matter what the answer is, people are gonna be unhappy, and I'm upset at you for just causing these issues in the first place. I know I said I'd talk about Cassidy's character, but my voice is really getting tired and we're over an hour in, so... So, Tape Girl. Tape Girl's pretty good. I'll put her in A. I love the twist of, by collecting the tapes, you have put Glitch Trap back together. There's not much to say about Tape Girl herself, except she seems sweet. So, I like her. Glitch Trap. Here's another hot take I have about Glitch Trap. I liked Glitch Trap more when we thought he was William. Not because I don't like the Mimic. I do like the Mimic. But I think Glitch Trap is a lot creepier if he's William. That being said, it doesn't matter who he is based on my ranking. Either way, he is the absolute, because his design is fantastic, and I think he's the creepiest character in these games by a mile. Plush babies are disgusting demon spawns, and I hate every level that you show up in. Fredbear is interesting, I will say. Back when we thought FNAF VR was still continuing the Afton storyline, I thought he was totally interesting for what it implied about Evan and, you know, the brain thing for bringing him back to life. I thought it made a whole lot of sense for it to be about William trying to bring Evan back. And that's why Dreadbear is like this zombie thing, because that's how Fredbear ends up possessed, you know? Oh god, my throat really hurts. Jesus Christ, this is what I get for not talking for weeks. Shadow Mangle isn't even like an actual character. But yeah, Dreadbear, here's the thing. It could still be in reference to Evan. I mean, Curse of Dreadbear as a whole feels a whole lot like it's still related to Afton, even if Glitch Trap isn't Afton. Also, I mean, you know, Ultimate Custom Night ends with Fredbear going into the Red Lake, and Curse of Dreadbear has Dreadbear walking out of a Red Lake. The only problem is we don't know, like, we know that Steelwool thought Afton was coming back. Or at least I should say, we can be pretty sure Steelwool thought Afton was coming back. Scott didn't tell them that, like, Glitch Trap was the Mimic, or that Burn Trap was the Mimic, and yeah. Steelwool likely thought Afton was coming back. So how much of the Afton-related stuff is what Scott intended? Scott didn't seem to have a problem with any of this until Security Breach came out. So I'm going to assume any Afton parallels are still there. I mean, look at it this way, right? In The Secret of the Mimic, if you believe that M1 isn't Fiona and is just mimicking Fiona, she was able to take Fiona's memories and practically become Fiona. And in the David ending, we basically train the Mimic off of David's memories to become David. So even if it's not literally David, it's practically David. And in Help Wanted 2, we know that Glitch Trap has Afton's memories somehow. So even if it's not straight up Afton, it basically is Afton. So, like, even if Curse of Dreadbear was made with the idea that Glitch Trap was Afton, I think everything still applies. So, I think Dreadbear is very interesting, but the problem is it, like, parallels both Cassidy and Evan. Also, like, Steelwool clearly thought the princess was Cassidy, they named her that in the files, so Dreadbear probably was, in their mind, Cassidy coming back, still coming after William. Let's put it this way, in terms of what Dreadbear was probably intended to be, I like Dreadbear a lot. We'll put Dreadbear in A. In terms of what Dreadbear is now, which is probably not really anything, it's kind of lame. But wait, we're gonna ignore that. Grim Foxy. Also, a lot of people assumed Grim Foxy is a parallel to Michael, because, you know, if Glitch Trap is William, Dreadbear is Evan / Cassidy, Grim Foxy would be Michael. I also am a big fan of that storyline that probably isn't even true, and also Grim Foxy just looks really cool. We're gonna put you in A as well. Captain Foxy is basically classic Foxy, but more. So we're putting Captain Foxy in the absolute. I love Captain Foxy, and I love the Captain Foxy levels. I love dark rides, like Disney and stuff. I'm still so sad that the FNaF dark ride never happened, because it was supposed to. I love dark rides. Okay, I know this is Help Wanted Spring Bonnie, but Help Wanted Spring Bonnie isn't, like, super accurate to what actual Spring Bonnie would have looked like, just because Steelwool didn't, like, trace the model to be exact. I'm not saying, like, it's super inaccurate, but, like, if you put the mesh for Spring Bonnie and, like, an accurate Spring Bonnie side by side, the head shape's just a little off. So when I rank Spring Bonnie, I'm ranking it off of what Spring Bonnie should look like and not what the Help Wanted one looks like, because it was scrapped. I love Spring Bonnie, and Spring Bonnie is 100% going in the absolute. Fredbear and Spring Bonnie are just, like, such an iconic duo to me. I love them so much, and I want to hug both of them. Obviously, this is imagining Spring Bonnie without William inside. I would not want to hug that. And also, like, I'm imagining, like, the characters themselves, you know, not, like, when I think Spring Bonnie, I think of what I imagine Spring Bonnie the character is, not what with William inside of him. When I think of the Yellow Rabbit, I think of William inside of him. The princess is hard, because, again, Steelwool thought the princess was Cassidy, but also we know that the king is Old Man Consequences, and that makes it a little more weird if the king is Old Man Consequences and the princess isn't Cassidy. How should we interpret the princess? And I mean, obviously we interpreted the princess as just Vanessa before we saw that Steelwool thought the princess was Cassidy. With Princess Quest 4, it becomes a lot weirder. It's hard to say. I really wish Vanessa got the story that she was supposed to, because Vanessa, okay, I love Vanessa in the movies, but Vanessa in the games really got screwed over hard. We're gonna put the princess in C, or B, because that's, like, in the middle. King is basically just Old Man Consequences again. We're gonna just put him there. This is just Glitch Trap, but he looks spooky and cool. We're gonna put him there too. Lol's Hacks is really funny. I'm not actually gonna rank Lol's Hacks. Gregory Gregory is so hard. This all comes down to what you believe. It depends on, like, when you think Gregory was under Mimic's influence, and how much of Gregory's original personality is like a bratty, destructive kid. Let's put it this way. Gregory in Security Breach by himself isn't horrible. Gregory in GGY is interesting because he's threatening, and it's fun to learn about what he was like under the influence of Glitch Trap. Gregory in Escape the Pizzaplex is likely under Glitch Trap's control, but it's hard to not hate him. He is such a huge jerk to Cassie, and Cassie is like one of the best FNaF characters. And then, you know, you get to Ruin, and it's debatable as to whether Gregory dropped the elevator, or if it was M1 or M2. Up until Secret of the Mimic, I genuinely believed Gregory dropped the elevator. Now that we know there's M1 and M2, it's a little harder to say for sure. I guess we'll keep you in C tier. I don't know. No, I can't put you in C tier. You're better than these other guys, even if I don't like you, but that doesn't mean I don't like you. Does that make sense? Like, I hate you, but that's because you're a good character. Vanessa, as your game character, is a D. Your movie character would probably be either an S or the absolute for me. I love movie Vanessa. Glamrock Freddy, I don't think I even need to say much. Who doesn't love Glamrock Freddy? He is so wholesome. I love him. I want to hug him. I want him in my life. Gregory doesn't deserve him. Please be my dad instead. Well, I probably wouldn't deserve him either, but still, be my dad, please. Glamrock Chica, I think Glamrock Chica is the creepiest Glamrock, but I also think she's the least interesting. Glamrock Chica has the crying when you get close to her, which is really disturbing, and the whole fact that Fazbear Entertainment programmed a character who always needs to look fit and feel fit, but also is insatiably hungry, is messed up. And I think Glamrock Chica deserves more credit than she gets. But she is also probably the least interesting Glamrock. We're gonna put you in A. Monty, I just want to point out that the past few days, we finally got confirmation that Monty killed Bonnie. Like, full-on confirmation. One of the developers at Steelwool put out, like, devlogs or whatever while they were making Ruin. And one of them talks about how Monty is electrocuted by a Glamrock Bonnie light, and the irony of that is because he killed Glamrock Bonnie. We got the Living Tombstones Step On Up song, and Steelwool retweeted it. We basically have confirmation that Monty killed Bonnie, and to me that makes him a whole lot more interesting of a character. If he didn't, I would not care about Monty at all. Roxanne, I hated you in Security Breach, but Ruin made me like you a lot. We're also gonna put you in S, I think. Sun is interesting, but also not super interesting. I don't have a lot to say about you. We're just gonna put you in A with Glamrock Chica, I think. Moon, on the other hand, I think Moon is creepy, and I love his voice, and I love his design. I love stars and galaxy-inspired things on designs, space, whatever. I love space. So, even if, like, as a character, Moon isn't the most interesting, he is going into the absolute for me. The Mini Music Man. C? DJ Music Man. He can go into S. I'm starting to realize I've put Chica too low. She deserves S as well. But yeah, DJ Music Man, he's funny. He can go up there. I like him. Okay, Vanny. Let's talk about Vanny real quick. So Vanny, you got like all of your character cut from the game, which sucks. But you have awesome fan works about you, and I love your design, and I can't help but put you in the absolute. I love Vanny, and I also love the idea of Vanessa in the movies eventually turning into Vanny somehow. It would be so cool. And Scott said we're not done with Vanny yet. At least he hopes. So, please, Vanny. Please be cool. Get your return. Stop being cut from things. You were cut in Security Breach. All of your lines were cut in Help Wanted 2. And you were cut from Into the Pit, which honestly makes sense, but still. Come on, man. Please give Vanny what she deserves. The Pat Pats are gonna go in B. They're adorable. The Glamrock Endos. I will say the Glamrock Endos are a lot creepier, I'd say. It's mainly their eyes. But they're also still just Endos. We'll put them in C. But their section was really good in Security Breach. That was like the one scary part of Security Breach. We're gonna put them in B. There's way too many staff bots. Staff bots as a whole are gonna go C. Map bot goes to S. I do have to say, Shattered Chica might be an S tier design. I love how it has like the Toy Chica beakless thing, and I love the lazy eye can go where I want me to. And the noises she makes are so good. Like when I played Security Breach the first time, me and Fen were just like, oh, the sound design's so good. Anyway, Shattered Roxy, also fantastic. One of the few moments in Security Breach that disturbed me was when Roxy was crying because she lost her eyes. Like, crying with no eyes. That's disturbing. Especially for me, because I have a metaphobia. I have a fear of eyes and stuff happening to eyes. So, I liked that. I really liked that. Hate to say it, Shattered Monty. Kind of a downgrade. You're going into B, I'm sorry, buddy. The Blob, we still know, like, nothing about. I'm sorry, Blob goes in D. I'm not a big fan of its design. We just know nothing about it. It just shows up for, like, 20 seconds. Hopefully one day I can put you higher. Burn Trap. So Burn Trap didn't end up how he was supposed to, you know? Burn Trap was supposed to be, like, kind of a hallucination. Like, Gregory's Glitch Trap. Like, you know how Vanessa is like it's implied that she like can see Glitch Trap like when he's not there, like a hallucination in like the therapy logs. That's like what Burn Trap was supposed to be for Gregory, from what we can understand. And that is so cool. I do really like Burn Trap's design though, even if it is kind of just an asset flip. I think B is not a bad spot for him actually. I just put him there temporarily, but that's not a bad spot for him. Also, I just realized they don't have Glamrock Bonnie on here, like a fixed Glamrock Bonnie. Let's just do this Glamrock Bonnie, get him out of the way, because I'm just treating this as like all Glamrock Bonnies, since they didn't have fixed Glamrock Bonnie on here. Here's the thing about Glamrock Bonnie, right? He was this big mystery in Security Breach. He was one of the biggest things I wanted to learn about. We didn't learn anything about him until Ruin. And, well, I shouldn't say that. We had the info that he disappeared after going to Monty Golf. And then in Ruin, we see his corpse with Monty Golf carpet under him, claw marks, and the broken face, and there was like a broken bowling ball next to him. And he was supposed to have voice lines in Help Wanted 2, but those got cut. Glamrock Bonnie is a plot device and not a character. That being said, he is the most lovable plot device ever. I love his design. He is adorable. My one problem with his design is his nose is too small. But I think Steel will even realize that because in Help Wanted 2, they made his nose bigger. I actually kind of like that he's a blank slate because it lets you imagine whatever you want him to be like, and that kind of makes it more tragic that you never get to meet him. I do hope that someday we'll get to learn more about Glamrock Bonnie, though. I think he has like 1 or 2 lines in VIP, but I'd love more. I love him. Best plot device ever. Solar Eclipse. You're creepy, but you're not like an actual character, but I do like your design. We're gonna put you in B. Cassie is one of the best FNaF protagonists, if not the best. Sorry, Michael, I love you, but Cassie is great, okay? She's going there. Also, I just realized I didn't put you there. There you go. Helpy. I like Helpy a lot. You're gonna go in A. I think he's really cute, and also, he was funny when Cassie's like, you said it was safe here. It is not safe, and I was wrong. Mixus is really cool, and I'd say goes in S. But especially knowing now that you're probably Fiona is even more interesting, so Yeah, well-deserved S. Oh, I just realized they don't have Shattered Freddy on here. Shattered Freddy would probably be, like, right after Glamrock Freddy. Shattered Freddy's really cool looking. Ruined Freddy gets an A, I think. Like, he's got a really cool moment in the game, and even if you see it coming, I wasn't expecting him to not have his head. I mean, it makes sense. I just hadn't thought about it. You know, he's not much of a character. He's a cool moment is what he is, but he is a cool moment that does it well. So, to be honest, Ruined Chica, I liked you more when we thought that the cheese was like your melted casing. The cheese, well, a cool visual, not as interesting as you being melted. I am putting you in B. Ruined Roxy, I think you might be a B as well. I'm sorry. I mean, like, you look cool, don't get me wrong, but compared to the others, eh. Ruined Monty is pretty cool, though. I think I'd give Ruined Monty an A. I also like how he's just kind of like a dog. Eclipse, you know what? Yeah, you get the absolute. I love how you mix Sun and Moon's designs together, and also your little segment, the animations were so good. I like how you're another friendly character. Mask Bot, you're just Matt Butt, but we know your sad story now, so yeah, you go into S as well. These guys, we'll put you one rank higher. You look cooler. Ruined Candy Cadet. Yeah, I'm gonna put you in A. I love your voice in Ruin, and your story in Ruin is a lot cooler than any of the stories you had in FNaF 6, personally. I don't know, I like Ruined Candy Cadet. Your design is just a lot better in Ruin. The Mimic. I love the Mimic's design. I also love the concepts of the Mimic. The execution of the Mimic in Ruin, not the greatest. Having him show up out of nowhere, not great. Again, we know what went wrong with Security Breach. If Security Breach turned out the way it was supposed to, probably wouldn't have been as weird. Having to learn about the Mimic from the books like a year prior, not great. Having the Mimic show up and the game end right at when you feel like things are getting real, not great. But Mimic himself, his design, his potential, lets me put him in the absolutes. I like Mimic, which is something me from 2 years ago would have never thought I'd say. I can tell you that. I came around. I like him a lot now. Carney's funny, and I like him, but he's not actually anything that crazy. So, B tier. Jacko Moon. He's, like, kind of cool, but also I don't care that much. You know, we'll just put him after Solar Eclipse. He kind of just looks like Solar Eclipse anyway, let's be honest. Mystic Hippo. A minigame I couldn't play because I'm not getting a PS5. And your minigame's not even worth it anyway, to be honest. You're going into D. Sorry. I will admit, I really do like the VR endos. I'm sorry, he's going in A. I really like the VR endo. Ruined DJ Music Man. You can go just right after normal DJ Music Man. The 5 laps at Freddy's Wolf. In terms of design, you get a C, I guess. You look cool, but I don't care about you. Oswald as a character is okay. We're putting you into B. Oswald's dad is really sweet. I like Oswald's dad. Oswald's mom, she didn't really do much. I don't care. We'll put you in D. Jeff gets the absolute. Jeff is such a mood. I love him. He's hilarious. I don't really feel like ranking Mike and Chip. They don't really do much. I know they do more in Turn to the Pit, but I haven't personally read that one yet. Into the Pit Spring Bonnie? I don't know. You're really cool. I might have to put you in the absolute. You're really creepy. Into the Pit was a really good game. All right, Dead by Daylight Springtrap. I don't think anyone will disagree if I put him in the absolute, right? Like, the model is so good, outside of, like, the missing stomach and buttons, but, like, the corpse model is fantastic. And also, hearing more of PJ Haywood was awesome. And, like, actual violence in FNaF? I mean, I know it's in Dead by Daylight, but it's still FNaF. It was cool to see. Oh, wait, I should have put the Nightmare bots somewhere, because these are actually cool. I think the Nightmare bots go in A, personally. I really like the Nightmare bots. I already put Hand Unit. We're going to just count Hand Unit as Dispatch. There. Boom. Arnold. We don't have a lot about Arnold. We know from some cut dialogue that his wife divorced him and he has a kid, and poor guy didn't sleep for like 40 hours or something. He's pretty good. We'll put him in A. Edwin Murray, the best human FNaF character. His story is so tragic, and obviously he's not a perfect person, but you just feel bad for the poor guy. Fiona, honestly, this all depends on whether M1 is actually Fiona or just the Mimic. If it's actually Fiona, the absolute. If it's not, might go down to an A. We'll put her in S just because it's in the middle. Oh, hey, she's right next to Mix's too. David, he was like 4 or 5, and then he dies. He doesn't do anything. He dies. He's a plot device. You'll go into C. Mr. Helpful. I loved Mr. Helpful. You're going in A, buddy. Mrs. Helpful, you didn't show up as much, so I don't have as much to say about you. We're gonna put you in B, I think. Costumes, I don't really feel like ranking all the costumes, to be honest with you. I'm just gonna rank my favorites. The mushroom, I would give a B, I think. The jester, I'd give an A. I love how much it looks like Glitch Trap. And Swing Bee, I'd also give an A, I think. The Cleanovac is basically just like the original Pat Pats, and you can actually pat the Cleanovacs. You can go right next to your descendant. Digityper is basically like the prototype staff bot. He's pretty cool. I feel bad for the poor dude for getting destroyed. Sucks to be him. I think Digityper deserves a B at least. Digityper's funny. Okay, Jackie. Jackie is freaking backy because she is the absolute. Jackie is my favorite in Secret of the Mimic. I love her design. She was so much fun to animate when I animated her. God, Jackie is so cool. She's creepy. Her voice lines are infectious. I have to repeat them every time I speedrun the game. I found you! Time to play! You're so cool. Tag, you're it! I just love Jackie so much. I have to do that every time. I'm sorry. I don't know. Jackie is just, she's backy. And same can be said with Shattered Jackie. She looks great too. Big Top. I'm not as big of a fan as Big Top, but he's still pretty cool. I'll give him an A. Shattered Big Top is fine too. The Captain looks alright. I don't care for him all that much, to be honest. I like the cannon with the little octopus, though. I don't know. I think he's a C. Puppet Foxy, though, I think is deserving of A. Honestly, might even be worth an S. Here's the thing. The puppet show itself is such a slog to get through on replays. But I love Puppet Foxy himself. Puppet Roxy, we'll give her a B. I'll be honest, Kit, I don't care about you. You can go into D. Okay, Bossin, though. Bossin gets an A. Bossin was hilarious. Foxy! Foxy, I done it! God, it's almost 2 hours. My throat is killing me. Renard, I also don't really care. You can go down with Kit. The Rocktopus can go into C, I guess. Dolly, I'm sorry, Dolly fans. I don't care for Dolly all that much. I will say her Molten design is a bit cooler, though. I'll put her in B. Party Time Chica, I'm willing to give a B. The Cupcake, on the other hand, disgusting demon spawn. I hate them. They suck. Not actually because I dislike their designs, or I think their designs are funny. And I think their mechanic is funny. I love their animations. But in speedruns, it's not even about the speedrun. When I first played this game, those cupcakes sucked. They wouldn't let me get through that section for like 40 minutes or something. I don't know. I hated it. And then in speedruns, it's smart to use them to distract Chica, but they're kind of 50-50 on if they want to just straight up kill you or alert her that you're there. So they're a bit of a pain. But Sleepy Moon is disgusting in a good way. I'm gonna put him in B. You can go after Harvest Moon or Jackal Moon. Harvest Moon's a better name. White Tiger. You might be an S, actually. You are the creepiest part of the game for me. Even during speedruns, I am on edge during your section. David, as a plot device, you're not great, but as a tiger, you're great. Honestly, these Starlight babies are just really ugly, so I'm putting them in disgusting. The prototype animatronics, what is there really to say? I mean, prototype Freddy doesn't even have a head. Go into D. I love prototype Bonnie with the fiberglass over his mask, though. You can go into B. Prototype Chica, you look a whole lot more complete, but less interesting than Bonnie, so you're gonna go into C. And prototype Foxy, you're alright too, but I'm also gonna put you into C, I think. Prototype Bub, though. I just realized, is this Sparky down there? Bub can go... You can go into B. Springlock Monty is pretty cool, actually. I think I'm gonna put you with normal Monty in S. Okay, prototype Fredbear. I also really like you. I think I'm willing to put you with the other Fredbears, which is ironic, because coming down to prototype Spring Bonnie, I think it's really not good. You know the moment in Deltarune when, like, Susie and Lancer are making our machine?
Chris, isn't that the machine we designed? All right, this will be tough, but let's try our best. Oh, that's not good, actually.
That's how I felt when I saw prototype Spring Bonnie. It's not very good. That thing stayed a prototype for a reason. All right, the proto mimics are weird. You can go into C, I guess, just because you're kind of funny, but I don't really like you. Fiona, you're basically just Mixus right there with the other Fionas. M2 R&D, I don't really care for M2 R&D too much, to be honest with you. I think it's going into C. M2 R&D feels a lot like the Blob, as in, like, it's a weird amalgamation that comes out of nowhere and doesn't seem to matter. Now, clearly the Blob does matter, but M2 R&D definitely doesn't. It's just another costume the Mimic put on. And it's cool, but I don't really care for it. M2 itself. A lot of people prefer M2 over the Mimic in Ruin. I really like M2. But personally, I like Ruin Mimic more. M2 is still a good S tier, though. And with that, I'll just go over my thoughts on each of these characters real quick. I'm not actually going to bother ranking them. Mendo's interesting. Auto Chippers, whatever. Snowball's okay, I guess. The Seagoon is kind of funny. Chipper is great. Eyesore is disgusting. Mad Endo is kind of cool. Brow Boy is funny. The Golden Mad Endo, I don't remember its actual name. Who cares? Bubba is cool. Pig Patch, or Pork Patch, sorry, is actually really interesting considering it looks like it's made out of pieces of the mediocre melodies. Security is cool. I like owls. Chipper's Revenge is really cool. Purplegeist is only a boss in the Halloween edition. In the actual update 2, he just gets crushed by the magic rainbow, so it's kind of lame. Endo Plush, why do you exist? Virtua Freddy's cool looking. Coffee, fantastic. Scott in a head, beautiful. Kitten in the crowd, super silly. Foxy.exe, glad that you gave us a voice for Withered Foxy. Red Bear, don't get the hype. White Rabbit, do get the hype. Tangle, your poor name got stolen by the Blob. Bucket Bob, funny. Mr. Can Do, funny. Mr. Hugs, get that bear. Number 1 Crate, my favorite. Pan Stan, wonder if he's pansexual. Lemonade Clown, pretty good. Fruit Punch Clown, don't slit my throat, please. Shadow Mangle, don't even know why you're on this list, honestly. You're barely a character. Freddy Frostbear, you know what? I actually want to rank Freddy Frostbear. I like Freddy Frostbear a lot. You can go in the A. I like Freddy Frostbear. Let's see. 8-Bit Baby, I really like that they made you. Lols Hacks, I'm so glad that you still exist outside of that one joke. Mopping Bot, you're kind of a jerk. Security Bots, scrap yourself. Ticket Bot, you're fine. Phazerblast bot, you're fine. The other Phazerblast bot, you're fine. The Raceway bot, rest in peace. Kitchen bot, I don't even really remember you, I'll be honest. Baby bot, interesting that you exist. Comedy bot, I like you, Comedy bot. You're a good man. Afton bot, strange. Mrs. Afton bot. I think you're actually called Nanny bot. But the Mrs. Afton bot, cool to see you. The Evan bot, you're interesting. The Elizabeth bot, you're interesting. The Michael bot, you're interesting. The Sinkhole bot, I don't know why there's only one of you. You're really weird. Pizza Maker bot, I think. I like you're funny and help wanted to. Tilt / the Glitch Trap Puppet. I like that you exist. Mike and Chip, you guys are okay, I guess. The Shreddy bot, the Shredendo in Dead by Daylight. I don't have much of a take on you, to be honest. Mascot, bird, lion, and elephant. You guys are the best ones. The dog, whatever. The Sharpei, I like how you wave at us, that's cute. The hedgehog, never would have thought you were a hedgehog. And the lemur, you look more like a bat. And the mannequins are just silly. And there we go. This doesn't have FNaF movie characters or book characters, so too bad, I guess. And it also doesn't have all the FNaF AR skins, which I guess is good because I wouldn't want to go through all those anyway. But yeah, this is it. Let's see, save or download. I'm sure I'll edit the image up on screen. There you go. This is my tier list of FNaF characters. This video was way longer than I thought it would end up being. My throat is killing me, but I hope this was entertaining, and I hope that I can edit this down somewhat. But yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to let me know what you think about all these guys. Bye!